Hello, it's Mary Lynn of Hard at Work. I see my covers. Anyway, I'm here for speak to Tim Collins here, and I'm going to let him introduce you because he knows more about him than I know about him.
Thanks,
So,
Mary Lynn. So, as you already heard, I'm Tim
yeah,
Collins.
yeah. So, Tim, why don't you introduce yourself and tell
Sure.
us a little bit how you got started doing what you do? I know you're retired, but you're a very busy guy. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I got my career really began at Procter and Gamble, and thinking back, in the first 2, 3 years, I did customer service, product supply. I worked in marketing. I worked in manufacturing. Neither of which was a good fit for me. It's very unusual at P&G to work in multiple functions.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, you stay in the same function. So I was sort of trying everything out,
Mm-hmm.
and I decided none of those really were for me. And then a friend of mine from manufacturing ran the recruiting department at P&G, and we had lunch, and he said, "Yeah, come work for me." And that started my 35-year career in HR.
Mm,
That's how it started.
wow.
So I love recruiting and staffing.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge of finding the right talent for the right job. Um, and it just kind of flew from there,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
flew by.
Yeah. You sound like you sort of miss it still.
I love, how the saying goes, I love being around people. Well,
Right.
I really do. And I
Mm-hmm.
love helping people. I love
Right.
connecting people.
Mm-hmm.
Recruiting is finding the right connection for a candidate. I'm their agent.
Right.
And I'm the agent of the hiring manager because she or he wants to find the right person. So I'm trying to help. I tried to help both achieve their objectives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So early on in my career, I sort of realized that I am naturally a servant leader.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my instant messaging reply for my whole career is, how can I help?
Mm-hmm.
I want to help.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you like helping doing? What's your best kind of help?
Anything, anything. What I still like doing is helping people succeed.
Mm-hmm.
I have always believed that the job of a manager is to help to get things out of the way so people can achieve their wildest dreams, achieve their potential.
Mm-hmm.
So I have always seen my job as being at the bottom of the end of a pyramid, holding
Mm-hmm.
it up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've never, I couldn't, I can't stand command and control. I can't stand Machiavellian behavior, which is so prominent in corporate America, corporate everywhere.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've had a global job for 33 of my 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, after going into a global role, I said, okay, I can never do a US job again. It's too boring.
Wow.
The global HR work is very challenging. There's so much to know
Mm-hmm.
about pay systems, about taxes, about practices, works councils, and unions. And I just am fascinated by all of it. I love learning about all of it. I love the interplay of cultures, uh, relationship cultures versus task cultures, Germany versus Japan versus Brazil versus Argentina. They're all so different. Uh, Canada has a wonderful work culture, more so by far than the US. More collaborative, more
Mm-hmm.
friendly, more team. US is so individualistic.
Mm.
I get mine, you get yours. I'm not going to tell you what I know. I don't like that. I don't like that
Yeah.
because I have always believed, Mary Lynn, that the smartest person in the room is the room. And no one has all the answers.
Right.
Everybody has something that they know. Everybody can bring value if they have someone who listens to them and cares for them and knows what they know.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what that person knows, so you can engage them at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since you've been kind of retired, what have you been up to?
Well, I retired at 55 from IBM, and since then, I've had what in the US we call three encore careers,
Mm-hmm.
which essentially is finding ways to apply what you did in the public sector to nonprofits. So
Mm-hmm.
public, nonprofit. So my first nonprofit role was to do fundraising for my alma mater, which changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I raised about $3 million in 3.5 years for my alma mater
Wow.
and got great satisfaction out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Then my husband and I moved to Asheville, North Carolina, where we live now. And I was HR director for an Episcopal camp and conference center,
Mm-hmm.
which I also loved.
Mm-hmm.
Camps change kids' lives.
Yeah.
And the conference center hosted art gatherings and retreats, all kinds of things intended to help people
Mm-hmm.
survive and
Mm-hmm.
thrive and cure themselves
Yeah.
and help others. So that was very moving too. Plus, it was in a beautiful place. I don't know, 100 acres on a 20-acre lake with pine trees everywhere. The
Yeah.
smell
Mm-hmm.
of, the scent of pine was everywhere.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
And then,
Then COVID happened. And I'm like, okay, I'm done. I decided, I stayed home. And then my last role was working for a what is it called? A fractional HR consulting firm.
okay.
So in Western North Carolina, there are a lot of small and medium-sized businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner has, I don't know, 10, 12 employees. And they spend 2, 4, 5, 10, 20 hours a week at their client, depending on what they need.
Mm-hmm.
And my job was to help promote and increase the public profile of the firm. It's called Craft HR Solutions.
Okay.
So I spent about an hour a week posting content on their LinkedIn page to
Mm-hmm.
increase their profile.
Right.
And in 3 years, we went from 300 followers to 3,000.
Mm-hmm.
And it was tremendous fun.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of fun. But I only worked 1 hour a week. So I did that for 3.5 years, and I sort of got, I never got bored with it, but I need to do something else.
Yeah.
I don't sit still very well. And so it was time for a change. So
Right.
now I'm a full-time volunteer. I have more time for that,
Yep.
and I love that too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what kind of impact or legacy is it that you really want everybody to know more about you?
Well, I was raised by two imperfect people who together, my opinion, made a saint. I'm sure it's not true, but that's the way I looked at it.
Yeah.
My parents were very different. My dad was an achiever, hard charger. He loved everybody. He told me as a kid, if I ever catch you not treating a maitre d', a busboy, a dishwasher, a car parker, a street sweeper poorly,
Yeah.
you're in trouble. Because my father talked to everybody.
Right.
He treated everybody with respect.
Mm-hmm.
I guess because he grew up in the Great Depression and he had nothing.
Yeah.
And he asked everybody's name, where are you from? How long have you been doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And then my mother came from money, but she was emotional and creative and funny. So dad was serious, mom was funny. Dad was mostly unemotional. She was very emotional. And they set a great example for me.
Yeah.
So the behavior that I saw a couple of months ago, I wrote down on paper, which I call bedrock values.
Mm.
And they are do the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
stand up for what you believe, protect the downtrodden, the poor, the prisoner, the teased, the fat, the autistic, the black, the brown, the green, the atheist, the Jew, you know, the downtrodden, the people who are not treated well.
Mm-hmm.
That next, and finally, stand up for what you believe
Mm-hmm.
and never give up. There's no problem you cannot solve if
Mm-hmm.
you put your mind to it. So that I call those bedrock values. It's the way I live my life without exception, because that's the example that my parents set for me, not by their words, but by their actions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So my dad essentially, he never said these words, but he wanted me to change the world.
Mm-hmm. And that you've done and still continue to do so.
Well, or at least my corner of the world. It's impossible to change everything,
Yeah.
but I certainly try. I don't always succeed.
Mm-hmm.
But I do pretty often because he gave me the ability to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom too.
Yeah. Sort of like giving you permission to go ahead and
Yeah.
do
My
that.
dad was Irish, 100% Irish. So that's where he gets his passion for life and for achievement. My mother was English, German. So that's where she became refined and mannerly. Uh, and she was an art major in college, which is where she got her creativity
Mm-hmm.
and her, yeah. So
So cool. So cool.
two
It's always
great
nice to hear
people.
people's story of how they got started and where they're
Yeah.
at now.
My father's first name was Francis. So as a
Hmm.
kid, he was teased because the boys in
Yeah.
grade school thought he was a girl.
Right.
So he said, "All right, I don't care, but my name is F. Patrick Collins." Uh, yeah, and my mother's name was Mary Lou Pash, and she looked like Shirley Temple.
Mm.
It was beautiful,
Hmm.
just beautiful,
Gosh.
inside and out.
Yeah. Must sound like they were very wonderful people to you
Yeah,
and
we were
the
married for
community.
53 years.
Hmm.
I'm married for 53 years until my mom passed away from lung cancer in her early 70s.
Hmm.
And my dad lived to be 90 and was healthy until the very end of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, what would you like to do from now on?
Uh, well, I want to be a good person. I want to be happy. My husband and I want to, and we are, travel. We travel quite a bit outside the US, in the US.
Hmm.
We we want to see our family and our friends,
Hmm.
either here in Asheville or there where they are.
Hmm.
Um, we want to be healthy
Hmm.
because if you're not healthy, you can't really enjoy life.
Yeah, it's true.
And
Well,
in my I still have the passion to change the world, which I
hmm.
do by the philanthropy. We personally, I make the decisions for philanthropy
Hmm.
just because Tom doesn't really want to.
Hmm.
Um, so I want to keep changing the world. And in Western North Carolina, there's a lot of opportunity to do that.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
I mean,
taking a step.
we just had Hurricane Helene come through
Hmm.
4 months ago,
Right.
which devastated our area.
Hmm.
Uh, so I'm involved in relief effort.
Hmm.
We both work for the American Red Cross as volunteers.
Hmm.
Um, but beyond that, I'm on the board of the NPR affiliate in Western North Carolina.
Okay.
I'm on the board of my fraternity foundation, which changes young men's lives.
Mm-hmm.
I raise money for them. So that's the kind of thing. Oh, and the last thing is I'm on the our county planning board, which
Mm-hmm.
manages zoning changes.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I'm involved in that is we have an affordable housing problem
Right.
in Asheville, as many communities do.
Mm-hmm.
I have to believe ours is worse because the economy here is hospitality,
Right.
food, hotel service. Wages are low, and the
Yeah.
cost of housing is through the roof.
Right.
So we have to do something,
Yeah.
and we're
Something different.
working. Yeah,
Yeah. 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 We have the same issue here. Only the city
yeah.
council chooses not to do anything. They think that's cheaper.
Well, the state doesn't want us to do anything
Yeah.
because it's run by people who support business.
Right.
Our city and county looks at them and said, "Come on, we have to,
Yeah.
we need to do. We're going to do what we can within the constraints that the state puts
Right.
on us."
Right. Right. Yeah. I think every state has a mandate, but whether the city chooses to do anything about it is another thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. It's so nice to hear about your life and things that you're doing to make a great impact in
I have had,
people's lives.
I
You
have
may
had,
not
and
be worldwide, but you're changing people's lives, right?
I'm trying to. I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing the best I can, and I describe myself as 66 years young because I
Mm-hmm.
don't intend to get old.
Right. None of us
I
do.
don't have, I don't have, I don't have old friends. I have longtime friends.
Right. Yeah.
Age is a number, and death is nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. Just
After all, life is what do they say? Life is a
continuum.
fatal disease.
I never heard of it that way, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. Anything else that you really want to share about yourself or things you want
Well,
to do yet?
I have a really cute dog who is eating the garbage as we speak. Bandit is he's the breed that he is called Havanese, which is Havana.
Hmm.
So the Havanese is the national dog of Cuba.
Oh,
So I
okay.
like to say that I have a communist dog. I'm a communist myself. I'm not really.
Yeah.
Here's one that your viewers might be interested in. You're familiar with the World Economic Forum
Yeah.
that has their annual meeting of all the jet setters.
Hmm.
Well, the founder of the World Economic Forum, first name is Klaus. I can't remember his surname right now, but he founded it and he's still president. And he created and he coined, I should say, an expression and wrote a book about stakeholder capitalism.
Hmm.
So the thinking behind stakeholder capitalism is by far the number one most important thing in a corporation is the employee.
Right.
You have to know them, you have to care for them,
Hmm.
you have to pay for them, benefit them, ask them what they think,
Hmm.
and they always come first. If the employee is well cared for, they work harder. They
Right.
have a stake.
Yeah.
They they know if they perform well, the company does well, which means they do well.
Hmm.
Shareholders are at the bottom of the list, which is
Yeah.
the exact opposite of most corporations around the world.
Right.
But in a stakeholder capitalistic structure, shareholders benefit too.
Right.
The stock price of firms who have the best example I can think of off the top is Costco.
Hmm.
But there are others. I mean, Procter and Gamble, where I worked for 20 years, I think operates from a standpoint of stakeholders.
Hmm.
In their case, they're in consumer products,
Hmm.
and at P&G, consumers are king.
Right.
Women, well, women are queens. because for consumer products, even to this day, women make buying decisions. So
Right.
therefore, P&G wants to know what women think.
Mm,
They watch them do household duties. They ask them what they're missing and what they would like.
right.
One great example at P&G is women said, "Well, I use this broom and all it does is push dirt around." So P&G scientists invented Swiffer, which picks up dirt, collects it, and it's now, I don't know, it was $1 billion brand. It may be 2 billion now from
Mm,
nothing.
yeah.
It came from a consumer's unmet need, a
Right.
woman's unmet need. So they pair the unmet need with the technology. What technology do we have that attracts particles?
Hmm.
And out of that, I think it's a $2 billion brand now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it works great.
Who doesn't have a Swiffer? And it's a brand, it's a word. It never existed.
Right.
And why Swiffer? Well, it's fast and it moves.
It's wet.
It's swift. It's easy. To
Picks
me,
up.
that's just the classic Procter and Gamble story. There are
Right.
many more like it.
Right.
One more, if you don't mind.
No, no problem.
Some years ago, P&G acquired oil of Olay from,
Oh,
I
okay.
think it was a Richardson Vicks product.
Hmm.
And back in those days when P&G acquired it, it was called oil of old lady because the only people who used it were old ladies.
Yeah.
It was gloppy and sticky and greasy.
Hmm.
So P&G said, okay, this does all right, but we can do a lot better.
Hmm.
So over the last 30 years, they have invested so much technology in Olay.
Hmm.
They have lines for women, they have lines for men. I believe they have lines for Black people.
Hmm.
It covers every need. It has incredible technology. And now it's not called Oil of Old Lady anymore. It's just the best skincare product
Right.
at the best price on the market.
Right.
And I don't know what has happened to Olay sales, but I guarantee it's gone through the roof.
Hmm.
It's a very strong brand. It has an incredible heritage, which is as a P&G word. Uh, uh, and the advertising and marketing, which P&G is a marketing company,
Hmm.
but their marketing is not about puffery and
Hmm.
it's about a product that works
Hmm.
and meets your needs.
Right.
If you look beautiful, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you
So there's an endorsement for Olay
Olay,
and women and men, they don't like to use cosmetic products, but
no.
I use it. It keeps my skin clean. It keeps my skin fresh. It keeps my skin soft. I'm
Hmm.
66 and I don't have any wrinkles.
Oh, good for you. Well, I'll have to get some of that old Olay, cover up my wrinkles.
No, it doesn't cover them up. It makes them shrink.
Oh, okay. I'll
It
get some.
doesn't, there's no cover up. Well, there is cover up in base makeup,
Yeah.
but mostly that's to cover up blotching or color variation,
Yeah.
which is very common, I guess, in women.
Mm, okay. Well, I'll have to check out that Olay stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's really been nice chatting with you, Tim, and I know we had a pre-call conversation. That was always interesting too. I love the stories about your dog
I
and
really had fun. I
yeah,
love what you're doing,
yeah.
uh, spreading the gospel of kindness.
Hmm.
We can be and must be kinder
Hmm.
to each other. God knows in the world as it is today, which I won't even make any comments about what's happening in the world, but
It's a
care
crazy
for,
world. It's a crazy
it's
world.
crazy, and all this stuff about DEI just makes me crazy because you and I know
Hmm.
we only have one race. It's the
Right.
human
Human race.
race,
I'm
which
human.
originated in Mother Africa and grew from there. And we're not that different.
No.
Skin color means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. It
Yeah.
is pigment.
Right.
And
We all
people
have the same blood, red.
people evolved based on the climate where they were. Irish
Yeah.
people are lily white because there's no sun.
Yeah.
And I am not because I have African blood.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't done if you haven't done genetic testing,
Mm-hmm.
pick one and do it, and you're going to learn
Yeah.
how diverse you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because we are all one human family.
Right. Just lots of different colors and shades.
All you got is cousins, cousins,
Yeah,
cousins, cousins.
that's true.
Yeah.
I have over 1,500,000 cousins.
I haven't counted mine up. I learned a couple of weeks ago that I have a second cousin about 5 miles from here.
Oh, cool. Let's go trip and
Yeah.
visit them.
Now I wrote him. He hasn't replied,
Hmm.
but so be it.
Yeah.
Not everybody monitors. They do it and then they leave it. They don't look at it again.
Yeah.
But I have connected with cousins, first, second, third, fourth, fifth cousins all over the United States.
Hmm.
And my next project is to get all of my father's genealogy research that he did
Hmm.
and connect what he did. He went all the way back to Ireland and
Yeah.
knew all of the names, but it's all on paper. And I
Hmm.
have to get that from my sister so I can learn more about it.
Right. Right.
I can't wait to do. And the last thing I want to do with that is go to Sligo, the county in Northwest Ireland, where my
Hmm.
relatives originated,
Hmm.
and be in that place, touch those walls,
Right.
prod those streets,
Hmm.
go to those pubs.
Be a fly on the wall.
Oh yeah, just soak it in because
Yeah.
there's an energy
Hmm.
to that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a big
Uh,
believer in
yeah, for sure. Lots to learn to yet.
that.
Much
Amen.
more to
A
learn.
lot.
Yeah. So cool. Well,
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed listening to you, Tim, and I'm glad that we'll have another conversation again, I'm sure.
You bet. As you know, Mary Lynn, I have a lot of stories.
Yeah. Okay. Well, write them down
And you know,
and
the best way to do a presentation is to tell a story.
right.
So I love to do presentations because I can tell stories.
Yeah. I have a few too myself, but
I love it. Have a nice afternoon. Enjoy your
yeah.
day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Cheers. Bye.